Good evening, and thank you for joining us. And we were talking about it last night, Carly, and it looks like, well, not all that uncommon for a team on the brink of elimination to show up and turn out a good game.
Yeah, rise to the challenge the Bobcats did. It was an exciting game. It was hard-hitting, it was physical, and that's, I think, what the crowd enjoyed the most. And hopefully everyone out there is going to get their bums in those seats at the Civic Center tonight, because the Bobcats are trying to push this one to a fifth and final game. They need that win tonight against Grand Prairie. Puck drop, 7:30.
Awesome. I'll look forward to seeing the highlights from last night's game, definitely. And Gerard, what's the story from your end? I guess it's the same story as we've been having for the last couple of weeks.
Well, the weather is brutal, like how the Bobcats played last night, eh? And they need another one like that again tonight.
Brutal is aggressive, Archie.
Yeah,
very careful there. Don't make me, stick gloves over there. Careful.
No, you know my heart. You know my heart is Bobcats all the way. If there's anybody who's definitely been happy to see the Bobcats play, it's got to be me. But the weather, like I was reading one climatologist this morning, he was saying, like, you might feel that, spring owes us something. It looks like it's going to be a iffy spring. Let's put it that way. Even though spring is supposed to start this month, my own feeling about it is like this first week in March is really like some of the weather that we were supposed to get in February. It's really looking like it. Those wind chills, let's have a look at it right about now, please, everybody. Those wind chills earlier on, like about 8 o'clock this morning, that was minus 45. Right now it's at minus 35, even though your digital readout is saying minus 24. The wind out of the west at 17 kilometers per hour. We've had a high pressure sitting over us all day, and that's why we've had those nice open skies with sunshine. But I tell you what, the wind chills are going to continue like that on the overnight. So if you're going to be out, you're going out to Bobcats, you're going to the Civic Center, make sure you got your layers on, make sure you're well protected, all right? We're going to get some more of it. We'll tell you about that a little later on. Jacob, it's back to you.
And according to Environment Canada, we better keep our shovels handy. Today may be the first day of March, but we're scheduled to see some of the coldest temperatures of the winter in the next 2 weeks. In fact, meteorologists are saying this March could be the coldest Saskatchewan experienced in the last 90 years.
No question about what this air is. I mean, this is Arctic air. This is what we call a pipeline. It just like it brings oil and gas with the same kind of conditions as it leaves and it arrives in the destination. This Arctic air, Siberian air, Alaskan air, Yukon air, call it what you may, but it is arriving in Alberta and Saskatchewan as cold as it left.
Predicting it'll be about 12 degrees colder than normal this week, making it feel like the dead of winter instead of the beginning of spring.
We think that it's going to be, spring is going to be a little slow to arrive. We can wish it and hope it and pray for it, but it's not going to necessarily arrive when we want it to. And we feel that we've been done in because we've had colder than normal conditions, more snow than normal. We've endured a long winter, and now we're getting a little testy, I think.
Philip says 25% of the annual snowfall typically comes after the 1st of March, and those flurries could follow us into April or even May. A Lloydminster man is facing numerous charges after RCMP discovered a bullet hole through the walls of 2 homes. Police responded to a complaint about the hole on Sunday morning just before 10 a.m. Members arrived at a residence in the 1500 block of 48th Avenue and confirmed the puncture was from a small caliber bullet with a corresponding hole in a neighboring home. RCMP quickly entered that residence to make sure its occupants were safe. Investigation revealed shots had been fired in the home by a 22-year-old man while having an argument with his common-law spouse. No one was hit with any of the fired rounds, and RCMP say no serious injuries were reported. The 22-year-old man was arrested and is charged with a number of firearm-related offenses, including possession of a weapon for dangerous purpose and assault. The man is scheduled to appear in Saskatchewan Provincial Court on Thursday. RCMP say the matter is still under investigation. The federal government won't be helping the county and town of St. Paul with their new medical center. At the beginning of February, MLA Ray Daniluk announced the province will be handing over money to help build the center. But MP Brian Storseth announced St. Paul will not receive any funding from Ottawa. Clayton Brown has more.
The county and town of St. Paul have been working together to bring a new medical center to the community. Both sides have pitched in $1 million on top of the $2.5 million the province recently announced it will be giving. But the project has hit a speed bump.
A local healthcare facility isn't federal jurisdiction under any way that you can look at it under the Constitution of Canada. Section 92.7 clearly gives this authority to the provinces.
Town officials had approached the federal government for funding, and they say there is some federal responsibility, and they aren't done lobbying just yet.
We're going to continue working with our MP. We've decided that we're going to pursue all avenues that we can for funding. There could be not just the INAC, but there's other avenues that he's working with us on, and we're going to continue that. And we think we hope that we have some success with this.
The community still needs nearly $2 million to complete the new centre, and if they are unable to receive any federal funding, Council will have to reevaluate how to come up with the money.
Well, with that, there's going to have to be some creativeness coming up between the town and the county, and see what we can do to make this come to fruition.
MP Brian Storseth still stresses he's fully behind the project and feels it will be a welcomed addition to the town.
Obviously, I support the medical center here in town. Being a resident of St. Paul, I recognize how important it is to our community that we have a good medical clinic.
The county and town of St. Paul are still planning to break ground for the new centre in early spring. In St. Paul, Clayton Brown, New Cap News.
Starting today, the Lloydminster Hospital's admitting access will be changed again. The second phase of the renovations to the ER and waiting areas has begun. The first phase set up a temporary entrance and waiting room, and the aim of this next project is to address the ongoing issues of moving people smoothly through the facility and completing previously unfinished work.
When we observe long lineups and we see the areas that are, where it looks like we're still in construction, those certainly are not conducive to good patient care.
Scheduled improvements include an expanded waiting room, an improved triage area, and the creation of a quiet room for families and a lounge for doctors. But this work, which is scheduled to be completed this fall, is really a stopgap to improve care until a bigger revamp of Lloydminster's central health facility is possible.
A new facility, or at least a major renovation, depending on the funding that's available. But certainly this is certainly not the end of what we hope to be a major capital rejuvenation for Lloydminster.
Well, until that happens, PNHR is asking for patience and cooperation as they put measures in place to ensure more efficient movement of people.
We hope to be able to do a better job of routing patients where they need to go. Are we going to be able to do it 100% all the time? Again, we're hoping this will improve that.
Parking in downtown Lloydminster at times can be frustrating. Many business owners have complained about vehicles parked for hours in front of their establishments. Shauna Roshik investigates what action will be taken to make a trip downtown better for everyone involved.
It's common to see people parking on downtown streets for longer than 2 hours. Business owners say it's an ongoing problem, but they're hoping it will soon change.
What we're trying to do is to educate, number one. Number two, we want to do a little investigation to see sort of where our chronic issues are, who our chronic offenders are, and maybe take steps to address that problem.
Many complaints have been filed by business owners, but Anderson says it will take a team effort to fix the parking problem.
Streetscapes itself has no authority under the bylaw. We can't ticket, we can't enforce anything, we can't have anyone towed, so that's where we need the city's cooperation.
The offenders are not who you might think.
It's not just customers in the downtown core that are doing this. It perhaps is staff of some businesses that are using the downtown parking for an 8-hour period, which deters customers from parking in front of business and supporting that business.
The city employs 2 bylaw officers who cover all bylaw enforcement for Lloydminster. Stasiak says their workloads are full.
We're addressing certain areas where we can pull miscellaneous tasks away from the 2 officers that we have on staff now so that they can invest more time strictly in the bylaw enforcement.
As the city grows and business develops downtown, providing proper parking will benefit everyone in the border city.
We're not out to punish anyone, but there are some people that are taking advantage, and maybe that aren't being considerate of others, and those are the ones that we're trying to get the message out to.
Shauna Roshik, New Cap News.